Queensland's Darren Appleton suffered major engine problems at the first round of the Championship Series at Mallala, but the 2005 champion was back on top at his home track, qualifying in position number 1 with his peer-sponsored Nissan Onevia. Appleton had a solo run in the top 32 after Matt Sampson was forced to withdraw his Sexpo-sponsored Toyota Sora with major clutch problems.
The clutch went yesterday, got about 7 laps in, the clutch is gone, so thank God we've got Exedy on board and they'll get a new clutch in it before next round for us.
Chris De Jager in the GFB Skyline came up against New Zealand ace Johnny Udy in the second of the top 32 battles. De Jager was struggling a bit with setup on the Skyline, and a mistake on the first run left the door wide open for a pass from Udy. De Jager knew he had to go for it on the second run, but his day went from bad to worse when a huge entry turned into contact on the first turn. Nathan Weissel from New South Wales took James Mardle on from South Australia in the next battle. Weissel took the run convincingly in the Skyline, but Mardle hit back hard in run number 2 in the Extreme Drift Clutch sponsored S13 Sylvia. In the end, it was a narrow victory to Weissel, the Skyline driver taking the 10-3 to 9-7 advantage. Next up, it was an untidy top 32 battle between Victoria's Adam Newton in the FPV Typhoon against SA's Danny Vahumis in the Nissan Sylvia. Both cars had suffered some damage in the runs prior to the 32 battles, but a spin from Newton took him out of contention in the first run. Vahumis had a spin on the second one, which gave them the tied score, but the judges felt that Vahumis had the upper hand, and the Wheelworks entrant was through to the next round. Round 1 winner Leighton Fine was sporting a brand new paint job and some new sponsors at Queensland Raceway. Fine came up against Andrew Paresis from New South Wales in the fat S15 and took the first run convincingly after Paresis straightened up. Paresis outscored Fine on the second run, but overall it was a win to Fine, who would progress through to the top 16. Local hero Dan Keneally debuted the incredible new Nissan Skyvia Ute at Queensland Raceway. Keneally was up against Speedway ace, the Flying Dutchman Craig van der Selt in the top 32 battle. Van der Selt had done a very good job in qualifying the commercial truck sales Nissan into 13th place, but gearbox problems took him out of action and handed the victory to Keneally in the Ute. Yet another Queensland versus SA battle in the top 32 when Eugene Aronson took on Adelaide's Steve De Palma in the Nisrec entry. A fantastic qualifying performance from Eugene, who started out in position 5. Bit of a mix-up on the start line for the first run, De Palma heading off on what was supposed to be his chase run. De Palma drifted wide in the middle section of the course, and that allowed Eugene to slip by for a clean pass in the Import Auto Parts entry. A better second run from De Palma, but the home track advantage was on Eugene's side, and it was a clear victory to the Queenslander. Two very good drivers in the next battle. James Vahumis from South Australia, the 2005 Toyo Drift Nationals champion, and Fernando Well from New South Wales, who was the 2005 Formula Drift National Series winner. Well dominated the first of the two runs, the speed, line and angle judges scoring at 6-4, 7-3, 7-3 respectively. In the second run, it was Vahumis who had the upper hand, but with a combined average 10-7 to 9-3, it was Fernando that was going through the top 16. Victoria's Michael Truscott was a top 4 finisher at the first round of the series at Mallala, and the Phillips Performance Lighting entrant was shining bright at Queensland Raceway as well, qualifying into position number 2. Truscott's first battle with Western Australian's Adam Truella was too close to call, and the judges called for a rerun. Truscott took the first run convincingly, but made a mistake on the second, and it was Truella that progressed through to the next round. A pair of Skylines lined up for the next battle. Cool Kelly McKinnon from South Australia in his R32 up against Dan Mackey from New South Wales in the R33. A very close battle in the first run, scored evenly by the judges. On the second run though, Mackey popped the button on his handbrake lever and it locked on into the first turn. It was the Team Nankang Skyline therefore that was moving through to the top 16. V8 supercar driver Matthew Hunt made his drift debut at Queensland Raceway in the ADD Nissan Zafiro. It was a baptism of fire though, up against Rockin' Robbie Bolger's Monaro. Bolger's smokescreen made it a difficult assignment for Hunt, but the talented New South Welshman was doing a great job on his first hit out. It was Bolger all the way though, the big Irishman in great form as he smoked his way through to the next round. Turbo Tom Monkhouse in the two-wheel drive Mitsubishi Evo came up against Corporal Christian Pickering in the S15. A diff problem took the Evo out of action at Mallala, but this time it was the Nissan that was missing.
Running on 3 cylinders.
Pickering's engine problems camouflaged his true potential, and it was Monkhouse that took the 12-8 victory. Darren Muse from New South Wales finished in third place at the first round of the series at Mallala in the Parasol EMT Riverina sponsored S14. He was plagued with gearbox problems though at Queensland Raceway and struggled in his first run up against Mark Phillips in the Martini Racing Skyline. Muse came close in the second run but not close enough, and it was Phillips through to the top 16 with a 12-8 win. Our next battle in the top 32 saw Mark Marchinson from Adelaide in the S15 up against the Drift Cat, Catherine Calero in the Onevia. What turned out to be a minor mechanical problem for Calero gave Mark a bye in the first run, but in the second, the Drift Cat drifted on past when Marky ran wide in the middle section of the track. The 8-2 victory to Cat in the second run wasn't enough to offset the 10-0 bye in the first run, so it was Marky Mark who took the overall win. Plenty of dramas for Jared Danaher in the top 32 battles with Bo the Show Yates. A spin and wild slide into the track barrier on the first run for the Gators S15, and even more fireworks when the two came together in the final run. The final top 32 battle was a showdown between James Mioch from New South Wales in his 180SX and JJ Markowski from South Australia in the S13 Sylvia. Mioch scored good points for speed in the first run but couldn't match JJ's speed, line and angle in the second, so that made it 7 South Australians through to the top 16. First-hand experience of drifting this weekend has opened the eyes of some newcomers to the sport as to how much raw skill these drifters display.
No, mate, these guys have got a lot of skill. After being in the passenger seat, just from the outside, you can see that it's not an easy sport to do, but just like the setup from the corners, how far they start back, it's amazing. Inside the car, it's just hands and feet going everywhere, but it's great fun.
The sprint car is more like physically demanding, but these things are just a delicate balancing act. Like it's unbelievable the skill that these guys have got. Like it's not just to go out there and you go thrashing around. Like it's certainly something that you learn to do. It's you know, to throw the cars around the way that these guys do is it's absolutely amazing.
To get a car with that sort of attitude on, remembering that you're racing someone else as well out there, I mean, it'd be really hard work, so there's a lot of skill factor to it. So, yeah, I'll take my hat off to them. Like, I reckon they do a great job, and I'll maybe get a bit of practice in first and maybe come out and do a bit of a run one day, but at the moment I'm really enjoying having the weekend off just looking at these things.
It's all throttle control and steering. It's not just so much of just putting in a straight line and going. As all the drifters know, it's you know, it takes a lot of control. The race car drivers have problems doing it. Obviously, the drifters have problems racing, but it takes a lot of skill, I reckon.
My V8, I don't have to think. Everything happens. In this thing, I've got to think about what I'm doing, and it's really playing with my mind.
Let's have a look at the top 16s, and they come in as this: Appleton and Udy, Weasel, Vahumis, Fine versus Keneally, Aronson versus Werl, Truella versus McKinnon, Bolger and Monkhouse, Phillips and Marchison, and Yates and JJ Markowski rounded out. It's battle time, ladies and gentlemen, and none other than reigning champion Darren Appleton. Had some problems in the first round at Mallala, but this time he's up against New Zealand's finest, Johnny Udy. Time to race, time for the race face, and they are ready to go. Starter lets them go, and they head down towards Toyo Turn 1.
Jason, this is going to be an exciting battle. Darren Appleton, champion on his home track. Unbelievable. The champion on his home track, his home game, and look what's happened. He's behind the 8 ball from the start.
And the New Zealander is gone. He's off. He knows he's got an upper hand here, but have a look at this. Here comes Appleton all the way around through the midsection of track, and he's working hard.
He's probably only done this track about 1 million times, but on this occasion, mate, he's spun it out, and that's a real shame. He's going to be behind the 8 ball well and truly.
Well, here comes the replay now. As you can see, Appleton's gone too wide, can't hold onto it, spins it around, keeps his foot into it, but Udy around the outside, gear changes, and he's off.
Yeah, now we'll see with the JVC on board here, and Darren, oh, whoops-a-daisy, not happy about that.
No, certainly. Will we swap around now? Udy's going to lead out. Appleton's going to chase him down. Toyo Turn 1 action. It is go time. Udy's gone in nice and early. And Appleton, up on the rumble strips for Udy. Nearly a spin from him there as well.
Certainly was. Appleton's got to keep the pressure on Udy here. He needs every point he can possibly get and try and force a rerun here. The chances of him winning are pretty small unless there's a spin. Let's see what happens next.
Second half of the track. They're coming around onto the front straight. Udy can see it. He's got it. He's going to try and clinch it here. He puts his foot down, and Appleton's got nothing to come back with.
Appleton in a lot of trouble here. Check the replay early on. Udy doing a really good job up front. Gets the angle on nice and early. Does go a little bit up onto the ripple strips, which might count against him. But at the end of the day, I think he's got Appleton here.
Well, he certainly has. You can see Appleton working hard at the office here, trying everything he can to come back at Udy. But Udy having all the answers on the first one.
And we check in with the judges now, and it's Appleton goes down 9-11. Ute progresses through. The champion is out at his home round.
Well, no rest for the wicked. We're straight into the next one. Nathan Wiesel. Oh, I'll tell you what, this guy's really making an impression, but none more bigger than Denzo. Danny the Great Vahumis.
Okay, let's see what these guys have got. Danny Vahumis is known as the intimidator here. Let's see how close he can get to Nathan and really put the pressure on him.
Well, Nathan's capable of pulling a big one out of the bag, and he's going for it nice and early. The 32 Skyline is absolutely roasting the hide. Danny's car benefiting from a little bit of battle damage during qualifying, trying to come back at him. This is a tough one.
Certainly is. Now, check out the amount of angle that Denzo Vahumis has got at the moment here. Oh, look at that. He's been balked slightly by Nathan Wiesel. This is a pretty good run by the kid from New South Wales.
No, Vahumis coming back at him tough now, but Wiesel going through for that one.
Yeah, you'd have to say, look at this. Check it out here. They got pretty close together, and it was actually Vahumis that had to pull back just a little bit. So that's a bit of kudos there for Wiesel. Let's see what happens on the second leg.
Well, down go. Wiesel's going to do the chasing here. Vahumis leads out, and I'll tell you what, he's got a good break going into Toyo turn 1. Around he comes. You'll see him kick the back of the car out, put the foot down, and really, and Wiesel balked out there and spins around at the top end of the track.
Exactly right. Vahumis has gone out really hard and said to Wiesel, look, mate, you're going to have to come hard to follow me. He hasn't done that. He's gone a little bit too hard early at the Toyo turn 1 there. Danny Vahumis goes through, and look at this run.
The style of the grandfather of drift, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely blazing the tyres.
Will you check it out? That's phenomenal. Have a look at Nathan here. He's had to go really hard and commit hard in the Toyo turn 1, and he's just gone that little bit extra, spun the car, and Denzo takes the win. Have a look at the style of them.
Oh, fantastic driving there from the grandfather, and he's got his foot down. Have a look at this. This is textbook. Absolutely perfect positioning of the car. The angles there, the line, the speed, and the smoke. And this guy has got it all wrapped up.
No doubt about it. Awesome performance, and he's going to go a long way today. The scores are in from the judges, and it's 12-7. Denzo Vahumis makes his way through to the round of 8.
Okay, let's get straight back into it. This guy making a massive impression at the last round, Leighton Fine, driving the A86 up against Dan Keneally. And Jeff, the big K, driving a brand new vehicle.
He is. He's driving a Skyvia Ute. The front end is an R34 Skyline. The rear end is a Silvia, so we call it a Skyvia Ute. And how the sponsors are just queuing up to get on board.
Well, I tell you what, he's doing very well by his sponsors by spinning it around and showing them all sides of the car. But the little black A86 of Leighton Fine, and take nothing away from him, hey, he's got new sponsors too.
Yeah, that's right. Martini Racing, PPG, Nankang Tyres, it's all happening for him up against the Skyvia, which is just a walking billboard. Have a look at that. Hogs Breath, Toyo, Ignition, it's all happening, isn't it?
Well, in the first round, you can see what happened here. Leighton's gone in nice and hot, just bulked him a little bit under the brakes, and of course the Skyvia goes around, shows everybody the sponsors, but that's not what drifting's about. You've got to keep good car control, and have a look at that. Perfect all the way to the end.
That AE86, that's why he's a series leader. Have a look at the way he performs under pressure. Look at the way he drifts it. This is going to be a good round 2 now.
Certainly is. We swap them around now. The Skyvia is going to take off. The little black beast is going to do the chasing. Great presentation on both vehicles. Down they come into Toyo turn 1. The Skyvia sideways already. He wants to make this one count. Dan the man is on fire.
He sure is. Have a look at the amount of angle he's got. Plenty of counter steer, which proves that he's got plenty of angle. Through this middle section, it's really difficult to maintain speed unless you can keep it moving from the start. That's exactly what Leighton's doing. He's all over the back of the Skyvia Ute, and this is an excellent run from Leighton Fine.
And it's not over yet. He goes up the inside, but no, Dan shuts the door. And have a look at this. I tell you what, the Skyvia is really, really working well, and Leighton's trying as hard as he can, but I tell you what, had it all over him.
He sure did. Leighton Fine was all over the back of him from the start. The judges are going to take that into account significantly. This is a big one for Leighton Fine.
Let's trot across to the judges for confirmation, and there it is, 14-6, Fine, taking the win over Keneally. Leighton is one driver utilising some breakthrough technology unique to drifting this weekend.
Driftbox is a GPS-based data logger that's made specifically for drifting and circuit cars. It's made in the UK, and Racer Industries are the importer and distributor into Australia for the product. And we're debuting it here this weekend in the Drift Australia racing. It's the only performance meter in the world that has a yaw meter built into it, so it's able to accurately tell the angle of the car as well as the position of the car. Now it's a 10 Hertz GPS logger, which means that 10 times a second it can accurately update the position of the car accurate to within a foot. Nowadays, with all the compact logging that you can put onto data cards, we use an SD card in this product, and the data is all stored onto the card, and you can then take the card out, stick it in your laptop, and you can then analyse the data, and the technicians and mechanics can have a look at how the car and the driver are performing.
One of the muchly anticipated battles now, Eugene Aronson up against Fernando Well. And as you can see, lean, mean Eugene there, ready to rock and roll. Straight across to Fernando in this fantastic Nissan here, absolutely beautifully prepared. And look at this, the race face is on and he wants to get it on.
He sure does. Now, let me tell you, Fernando was not the Formula Drift winner last year for nothing. He knows what he's doing now. Check this out. This is going to be an awesome battle. A little bit of curvage there once again.
Yes, lean, mean Eugene going a bit shallow there, didn't pay off. And here comes Fernando. The gear is selected, the weapon is primed, and he is unloading here at Queensland Raceway.
And the crowd at Queensland Raceway are loving this battle. This is close. It's really good. Have a look at what Eugene has. Plenty of angle there. Did you see that? Plenty of counter steer on the front tyres. Let's check the replay, Jason.
Yeah, a little bit of full driving to start off for lean, mean Eugene. And of course, here comes Fernando. Like I said, he just gets up so close and the angle is working well for him. And of course, for the second half of the course, mate, he is on fire.
And loving every minute of it too. Ready to go for the second leg of this particular run.
Down they come, heading towards Toyo turn number 1. In they go, locks up, comes, oh, look at that. Oh, absolutely shaved the edge of the bumper bar there.
I wouldn't have a clue what happened there, only to say that Fernando was heading in with a faint drift. He's probably just got a little bit too quick, locked it up and gone very close to the wall.
Oh, lean, mean Eugene, look at that, pointing to his fans in the crowd saying, get some underwear ready for me, because that was a really close shave, ladies and gentlemen, and turns a bit of a show on at the end as well.
He certainly does, but have a look at this. It looks like Fernando's just mistimed his faint drift there, gone flying towards the wall, locked up all 4 wheels, and the lean, mean green machine has done well to get around him.
No, he certainly has, and coming onto the front straight, got it sideways. As we crossed the judges 13-7, it was an easy win for lean, mean over Fernando. Next into the Coliseum, ladies and gentlemen, we have got Adam Truella all the way from WA driving the Nissan Safiro. He's come a long way and he wants to make his mark, but he's up against one of the toughest customers, cool Kelly McKinnon in the R32 Skyline.
This has got to be the battle of the bad boys, hasn't it, Jason? These two guys, very nasty individuals. Let's see what happens in the first leg.
At one point, they had more facial hair than a group of bikers, and in they go into the Toyo turn 1, side by side. McKinnon looking for the pass on the outside, and he makes it stick.
Well, that certainly was a pass race, and Jason, the question is, was he drifting when he did it? A pass while grip driving is not viewed very well by the judges at all.
Well, listen, mate, it ain't over yet in the final stages of the track. Here they go, though. Oh, McKinnon is lighting the hives as he hoots on through.
Yeah, sure is. Have a look at this. Here comes the pass again. Now let's check what cool Kelly McKinnon actually does. Watch his front tyres and he straightens up. That may not be as good as it looks, unfortunately.
But I tell you what, he got it happening later on, but the man from WA, Adam Truella, he was all over the back of him as well. Didn't let him get away.
Adam Truella never knows when he's beaten, doesn't know the meaning of defeat, and he always comes back in the battle. So let's see what happens this time around.
Well, Kelly gives a thumbs up and he's released now. He's in front and Adam's going to have to chase him down in the White Beast. Down they come. Oh, Kelly's already sideways. He's attacking this as hard as he can. Up on the middle ribble strip, a little bit of four-wheel drive action. We love it all, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. We love it all, but how about this? McKinnon must have missed a gear or something. Slowed right down, ripped right up. Again, the judges are going to take a dim view of that.
Oh, look at that massive angle from Adam on the front wheels as he comes into the second half of the track and into the final corner. Both cars go. They're doing quite well here, Jeff, but look at the smoke from them.
Plenty of smoke today from these guys. They've got something against tyres, I'm certain. Have a look at Kelly McKinnon here. A little bit too close to the apex. Paid the price there. Lost a gear, gripped up, slowed right down, which brings Truella right back into the game. And Truella did a good job from there. In fact, did a great job from there. 11-9 with the win. He progresses and the big names are falling in the round of 16.
Well, speaking of bigger names, they don't come any bigger than Rockin' Robbie Bolger here in the Monaro this weekend, up against Turbo Tom Monkhouse in, of all things, an Evo 7.
An Evo 7, that's right. Now, normally they're four-wheel drive. I should just warn everybody, this one's been converted. It's two-wheel drive. What's going on here, Jace?
Well, down they come into Toyo Turn 1. In goes the Monaro. All 800 naturally aspirated horsepower, ladies and gentlemen. Destroying tyres to the tyre gods. Following up, of course, is the Lancer, but Robbie really putting on a show.
Sure is. Everybody talks about lack of traction in drifting, and that's one really important thing. But this car gets really good grip, which causes it to fire out of the corners while still demonstrating good angle. And look what's happening here.
Here we go, and it shotguns down the front straight there, opening up a considerable opening over the Lancer.
Once again, he's gone really close to the apex there, which is great, but he's just unsettled the car slightly. In any case, it hasn't bothered him too much. Have a look at the speed, the line, and the angle. He's got it all in bucket loads.
Certainly have. We swap them around now, of course. Bolger's going to chase the little Lancer down. 4-cylinder versus V8. He shakes his head and says, it's time to go. They release them on the far side of the track, and the silver Lancer blasts out. Of course, the 4AGE turbo engine working as hard as possible into Toyo 1, sets himself up, but here comes the Monaro.
Look at that. Robbie Bolger in this car is really able to shadow the car in front of him, which makes for excellent points with the judges. The thing is, Turbo Tom Monkhouse isn't letting him get too close to him. This is a great run by Turbo Tom.
Well, it certainly is, but the last corner is always Robbie's corner because he flexes the muscles on the Monaro. The little Lancer's there, but here comes the Monaro, smoking the tyres across the final line.
This gives us a really good indication in this shot here, if you have a look. Robbie is showing excellent line, which is demonstrated from the front wheels, and he's just caught Turbo Tom up like you wouldn't believe. Turbo Tom's looking in his rearview mirror saying, hey, where did he come from?
Well, it certainly is. It's a fantastic looking Lancer as well as we cross through to the judges, and you can see it's a clear win for Robbie Bolger, 11-9, defeating Turbo Tom. Next guys into the battle, we have Mark Whiplash Phillips up in the R33 Skyline, up against Marky Mark. And I tell you what, Marky Mark, bit of a colourful character, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the seat.
We love drifting.
And we love drifting too, Mark. Don't worry about that. I just want to point out to everybody that no animals were harmed during the making of that seat.
Well, I tell you what, there could be some animals harmed here as they go in. Look at that, the baby seals are going to cry. Look at the tyre smoke out of the back.
Oh, don't worry about the baby seals. How about the environment? The Martini Racing R33, Whiplash Phillips doing an excellent job leading out there, and Marky Mark is just starting to gather him in, but every time he gathers him in, Whiplash makes another break.
Two SA boys come all the way up here to Queensland Raceway this weekend, and oh, look at that, Whiplash turning on a smoke show in the final corner.
He sure is. Now have a look at this. Big handbrake entry there, not to worry.
Still
really
on,
long,
still
really
on,
long.
Still on, still on, still on, still on, still on, and he finally turns in.
And there it is.
Can someone say flat spotted tyres?
Yes, there it is, all right.
Second run, Marchinson's going to lead out here, and in he goes nice and early. Marky Mark working that S15 really, really hard. But here comes the wide body 32 of Whiplash as he comes back at him through the... Oh, interesting line there. Went in very shallow and gathered him up.
Certainly did, and he knew he had to. He was Marky Mark was making a really big gap on him there, so he kind of cut the corner just a little bit. What a great effort.
Wow, big smoke show from Marky Mark, but here comes Whiplash on the final corner, and have a look at that. Going through into the final, they set themselves up well, both quite big cars, and you can see the R33 going inside, closing the gap.
Yeah, indeed. Making it really obvious to the judges that he knows what he's doing in terms of keeping the speed of the car and bringing it through the corners. Great tactical manoeuvre there, and Marky Mark goes down. It's Whiplash Phillips goes through 11-9.
This one's going to be State of Origin, ladies and gentlemen. We have got New South Wales up against South Australia, and there's our main man from SA, JJ Markowski, but he faces Bo the Show Yates in his lethal silver A86 Sprinter.
I've got to tell you, Bo's won more drift comps than he's lost in that car, and that's a very big claim to make. Let's see what happens this time around.
Well, down they come into Toyo turn number 1, and in goes the Show, and this is why he's called it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at the positioning and the speed on this thing.
A little bit wide on the exit there, but not to worry. Plenty of speed on the way through the corners, and JJ is going to need a couple of sticks of it. Dynamite! If he's going to try and carry that gap, let me tell you.
He certainly is, but he's coming back hard at the Show, and the Show, I'll tell you what, he's opened a bit of a gap, and, mate, he's just got so much speed.
Yeah, he can. It's a really lightweight car. It weighs about 850 kilos. He uses that lightweight to best advantage. Have a look at the way he carries speed through. And that's what the judges are really looking for. The Drift King, Keiichi Tsuchiya himself, drove an AE86, and look at that.
A little bit of monkey business on the start line, heading down the back straight. I tell you what, JJ wants to take the win here, and he's going to work every angle he can. Oh, he's gone out very wide. Does he hold on to it? Amazingly, he does that. He's a stunning drive.
And you know what was great about that was that he went out wide. Bo Yates emulated him perfectly, copied him, did exactly what the guy in front did, and that's extra points with the judges.
Well, Bo's all over the back of him like a rash, and he's going up the inside for a pass. This is where it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Side by side onto the front straight. Oh!
Excellent run there by Bo Yates. He clipped the apex a little bit there. Now, JJ went wide, Bo Yates followed him again. Grip up there from Yates, though.
Certainly, and onto the final straight here, you can see Yates is going to go on the inside, which he does. Picks up the centre of the apex, shoots up the inside, but JJ puts the foot down, spools the turbo and keeps his nose in front. And of course, as you can see on the score, Yates goes through 14.6 to giving JJ an early shower. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty more hot diggity sideways sliggity action from Queensland Raceway.
Well, over 10 years ago, the Australian Touring Car Championship became a closed shop. In fact, they banned Japanese cars and banned turbos altogether. And the only way you could play is if you had one of these, a Holden, a V8 or a V8 Ford. Well, of course, drifting is the sport born in Japan, and there are many now calling for only Japanese cars to be here and to kick out the Fords and Holdens altogether. Thought I'd catch up with some of the drivers to see what they thought.
The sport's getting bigger and bigger, and anything that can bring in more crowds and bigger crowds to the sport is definitely a good thing.
I think this Holden Ford rivalry in Australia is a big thing, especially with V8 supercars in the country, and I think it's great to have Ford Performance here and obviously Holden backing the Kappa cars.
The fact that Fords and Holdens are involved in Australian drifting is a good evolution of the sport here in this country. And I think it's good that we're getting these cars prepped and they're holding their own against the Japanese cars to prove that they can do it as well. So I think it's pretty good.
I don't know why anyone would drive a Holden to begin with, mate. So
everyone should be in this if they want to be. It's great.
Well, I reckon it's a good thing because it's going to give us a chance to whip them. But bring it on, Holden and Ford, not a worry. But if we can get rid of that Robbie Bolger peanut, that would be good.
I think it's a Jap sport, so keep the Jap cars in it and get rid of the Aussie Holdens and Fords.
Well, I think they should be allowed just to even up the category a bit, make it, I guess, more interesting.
I think the sport's grown. It's not just a Japanese thing anymore. I think it's Australia's chance to put their stamp on the sport.
I think the more variety the better, and they seem to be on the pace, so I think it's a good thing. It's an Australian series, it's not a Japanese series, and I think that the Ford and Holden should be involved in something that's going on here at home.
I'll let everyone in. Let them all have a go. Bring the Magners out. Let them have a run.
I think the Fords and Holdens don't really have a place here. We should keep it a Japanese sport. And, the Japanese cars always do better anyhow. And Robbie Bolger's not doing any good. He never ever does.
You get rid of all them Japanese cars. I just cannot believe this is Australia, mate. Them Japanese cars should be kicked out of here. I cannot believe it. It's disgusting.
Toyo top 8 time, let's have a look at them. Udi versus Denzo the Great Vahumis. Leighton Fine against Eugene Aronson. Truella versus Bolger. And Phillips up against Bo the Show Yates. Let's cross to the boys in the pits.
It's been a tough day. I've been back in this car probably about just today actually, just a last minute thing. But we're going to charge on, and Danny's competitive today. He's got some good speed, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be there at the end.
I'm feeling confident. I like the track. Car's going wicked. I'm going to win.
Oh, it's going to be difficult, that's for sure. I'm up against Leighton Fine, so he's an extremely talented driver, but it should be an interesting battle, definitely.
Look, we'll have to wait and see how we go. It's running really well today, and I've battled Eugene before, and we should have fun.
I've been using the drift box now probably 2 or 3 weeks. The last round we started using it, and Racers Industry, who sells them, has given me one, and we've tried it. And I just learn, you see what your mistakes are. The judges, obviously you think the judges are telling lies, but when you go back and look at the drift box, you know they're actually telling the truth.
The car seems good. I just overheating issue last battle, so I was just babing it out there around the back of the track to try and get the temperatures down, but the boys have fixed the thermos in the last 2 minutes or so and put a new set of tyres on, so it's looking good.
Oh, well, time will tell, I suppose. I'm pretty confident, so just have to wait and see what happens.
In the final, you really expect anything. It's a tough track. It changes so much from the person you're following.
It's top 8 battle time, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the far side of the track with a lovely lady standing over there looking good, and it is Denzo Danny the Great Vahumis in the first battle up against New Zealand's finest, Johnny Udi.
Now, I should point out to everybody that his sign rider didn't make a mistake there. It's very drift spec to have your stickers mirror reversed on one side of the car.
Down they come on the back straight. This is going to be the first battle, and in goes Judy. Oh, it's an interesting line from him. What's Danny going to do? He goes at an even interesting line, does a bit of four-wheel driving and holds onto it. I tell you what, heading towards the dipper here, these guys are pretty evenly matched.
Very evenly matched. Denzo's doing a great job of emulating the car in front of him. Oh, a little bit of a grip up, so he'll put the mock on him there. Udi blowing plenty of smoke, but not only that, showing some excellent speed. And we welcome the JVC chase car. Have a look at this footage. Gives you a really good perspective on what it's like to be in a drift battle. Jason, have a look. The front tyres here from Udi, he was showing some awesome angle, but he got ducked down the inside of there by Denzo. Look at this. Excellent speed through the middle too.
Back comes Denzo, but I tell you what, it was an interesting run as we swapped them around, and Denzo the Great leads out. Of course, a bit of damage on the front of Danny's car, but he can still compete, and in he goes into Toyo Turn 1 with random abandonment and absolutely frying the tyres around.
Frying the tyres. You kidding? Denzo would be able to compete on 3 tyres. Loss of the front bumper is nothing to him. Have a look at this run though, and Johnny Udi there looks like he's got a bit of a problem.
He certainly did. I saw a bit of smoke coming out from underneath the car as opposed to out the outside of the wheels. It's still coming out, but Danny looks like he's going to clean this one up quite easily on the replay. Danny, full lock, full commitment. He's working hard at the office.
Awesome snap transition there as well. Really flicked the side of the car around. That's what it's all about right there. Take a photo of that and send it to your family. Danny Verhumis, 11-9, makes his way through to the semi-finals.
Well, the grandpa goes through to the next battle, and it's ready to go. Here we go. Lean Mean Eugene, and he's up against none other than Leighton Fine. Well, have a look at this guy here, Leighton Fine. Not interested in talking to the cameras. He has got the race face on, Jeff.
He sure has got the race face on. JVC chase car is going to give us a really good perspective into the first corner. They swing to the outside. How about that?
That's about as close as sitting in a car or sitting on the back bumper and hanging out the rear hatch, but here comes Fine. All the way around, good car position. He wants to go through the wind, but Lean Mean Eugene coming back at him nice and hard.
We're always talking about Eugene being a newcomer. Don't worry about a newcomer. He's really serving it up to the series leader at the moment.
He's on the front foot and he's swinging big time, but Leighton Fine, he's got it up, and have a look at this. Into the replay we go. You can see Leighton going for the centre of the track, which makes it very hard to get through on a pass, and the JVC chase car picking up their angles. Look at the transition these guys are making.
That gives you a really good idea of the kind of transition from drifting all the way to one side to snapping it around and doing it the other way. Once again, the perspective in a Toyo Turn 1 is awesome.
Well, these boys are certainly moving and grooving as they go on round number 2. As they head towards the dipper, but here comes Leighton. He is well and truly moving the A86 nice and hot through there.
Once again, the light weight of the A86 means that through the tight sections they can keep their speed up high and really make the running. And speaking of running, Leighton Fine sticks his nose up the inside and goes for the pass.
Oh, look at it. Here it comes, the A86. He's waiting, he's waiting, he's waiting. There, he tries as hard as he can to push it up. And I tell you what, Lean Mean shuts the door just to make sure it doesn't go off. But it certainly went off for the judges. 12-8, Leighton Fine rocking on through past Lean Mean Eugene. Well, here we go. Have a look at this all the way from WA. Thumbs up. Adam Trahella ready to take on Rockin' Robbie Bolger, who shakes his head and says, I'm not afraid of you. And down they go. The flag drops. The WA car leads out, and here comes Monaro. Watch the angle from the JVC chase car. Oh, around they both come nice and tight too.
Look at this, Bolger all over the back of Borneo. This is going to be an exciting battle. Look at the distance between those two cars, or should I say lack of.
Well, they're certainly coming through the dipper now. The Monaro sucking hot air out the back of the exhaust of the Nissan. It's coming to the final corner. Borneo missed a gear. Looked like he missed a gear. Oh, the Monaro gives him a little bit of a nudge and says, come on, buddy, move it.
You better believe it. Borneo there with a slight little mistake. That was all it was. When there's a metre between the two cars, that's all it takes. Check out Robbie catching him there. You can just make him out in the smoke at the back there. But yeah, Borneo with a little slip gear or something. And Robbie, unavoidable there. Just like one.
A little bit of a love tap, mate. You know, leave a bit of yellow paint. But here we go. We're going to swap them around. The Monaro's going to take off. Look at that. In the office of Robbie Bolger, ladies and gentlemen. Moving and grooving. And he has got the foot to the floor. And the power of the mighty V8 is absolutely going off. Lots of speed through here into the centre section.
That's right. Robbie's just going to try and disappear off into the horizon whilst keeping good line and angle. And look at that. That's exactly what he's doing. Where's Borneo, you might ask? I don't know. There's so much smoke I can't see.
That's fantastic. Excellent speed, excellent positioning. And have a look at this. Robbie using the 800 plus V8 horsepower under his right foot to absolutely blanket Borneo in a cloud of white smoke.
And once again, look at that. The judges there with a 12.8. That's 2 lots of 6.4 to Bolger. He's done a really good job there. Truella beaten, but definitely not disgraced.
All right, here we go. Straight into the next one. We have got Mark Whiplash Phillips in the R33 Skyline up against Camo, Bo, The Show, Yates and the A86. Nissan versus Toyota. The Martini Race Hills R33 looks like it's going to lead out. The GCG Turbochargers is going to chase him down. The JVC Chase Car is going to try and stay in touch with them, but these boys are gone.
They are disappearing. Look at that. Yates, oh my goodness, had to take the inside line on the dirt. How about that?
And it's Sun settled in, but he's managed to hold on and keep it going.
Goodness
Absolutely
knows.
Stunning.
Oh, I wouldn't have a clue how that happened. Don't even ask me. I don't know what's going on there.
And this is drift racing. It's not demo derby, is it?
Well, it probably is. Have a look at this. Bo Yates right down the inside. Now, Phillips does a smart thing and tries to just squeeze him a little bit there. Bo Yates with nowhere left to go, straight onto the dirt.
He did hold the racing line, so hats off to Phillips for having the balls to hold onto it. But here we go. We're going to swap him around, and out comes The Show. He's got to do something very special, and he's doing it right now. Massive opening from the A86 with the power he's got under the bonnet. In he goes, very aggressive from Bo.
That kind of entry is in drifting is called a feint drift, but most other motorsport fans would call it a Scandinavian flick. Bo is an exporter.
Well, listen, there's usually a lot of smoke coming out the back of the Phillips car, but looks like he's backing off a little bit. Oh, and he's done it for a reason. He took the front bar off on the tyres. I tell you what, it's rockin' racing.
Look at this. He's actually carrying the front bar on the side. I don't know how he's doing that either.
He's trying to dislodge it there, but
I've got a funny feeling that Phillips is a bit down on horsepower. Something might be wrong there. We're just not seeing the same kind of smoke from him. The judges don't agree, though, 12-8, and Daniel Gibson is down with Whiplash in the pits.
Yeah, well, that was pretty interesting. I didn't know I was going up against Yates, and he's so consistent. Just had to mix it up a bit for him and hope that he wouldn't know what was going on, and it kind of worked. Pushed him off into the dirt, and just tried something new through the centre section, pulled it off. He's got new Federal tyres on there, these 595 RSs, and they're so forgiving. You make a mistake and they'll just grip and bring you back, and that's what did it, I reckon.
a regular feature of the Toyo Drift Australia series is the crazy stunt bike action of Matt Mingay and Cameron Aimbridge. The boys come to each round boasting some of the most extreme moves, death-defying stunts and a mountain of experience.
I've been full-time stunt riding for 8 years, but riding them since I was a little tyke, probably about 6 or 7 years old.
I jumped on a bike for the first time about 8 years ago as well, but I hadn't ridden before that.
Stunt riding is a risky prospect at the best of times, pushing man and machine to the absolute limit, and can sometimes have frightening consequences.
It's always been a concern, but I've been pretty lucky with injuries. I've had some big get-offs, but you know, I've been pretty lucky.
I think I've broken 27 bones in my life. The majority of them are on a motorbike, and usually a couple of years. So it's all in the part of learning. You just got to get into it, and you got to try and push that aside. And if you're keen to do it, you just got to do it. Sometimes I've just got to think you've got to pull your brain out before you put your helmet on, and just get into it. Mate. The main thing to do is have fun. If you're not having fun, it's pointless being on the bike.
Another great turnout for the show and shine here at Queensland Raceway, thanks to Auto Salon magazine. And don't forget, if you're in Western Australia, the Auto Salon is at Perth Convention Centre next weekend. That's July 29th and 30th, so don't miss it. Oh, we can see the judges getting ready over there at the Renco truck. Let's have a look at the Toyo top four, and they come in as this. We've got Danny Denzo, the Great Vahumis, up against Leighton Fine in the first battle. The second one, Rockin' Robbie Bolger, up against the main man, Whiplash Mark Phillips. Let's go to the pits and have a chat with the boys.
Well, mate, this is going to be interesting up against Leighton Fine. It's deja vu.
Yeah, it is. I'm not real happy about it, but we'll give it our best shot. We'll give it our best shot because he's just such a consistent driver, so we'll try.
We had a good battle down in Malala, even had a rerun last time, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, mate, I'd like to be number one today, especially for we've had a lot of people this week. Mark McLaughlin from Power Talk and Shane, they've worked. We blew our engine up on Wednesday, and they've just worked their heart out. Everybody's worked hours, and if we're ever going to deserve it, I think we deserve it this weekend if we can get it, but it's a big if.
Bolger can't drive, save himself. We'll see how he goes, trying some scare tactics, and won't work.
All right, Jeff, well, you know what time it is, mate. It's Top 4 time. That's right, and here we go. We are straight underway with the grandfather of drift, Danny Verhumis, brought drifting to Australia up against the hottest talent on the drifting circuit here in Australia, Leighton Fine.
I'd have to agree with both of those comments, Jason. Very well made. Here we go. The JVC chase car follows them as Denzo. The grandfather leads out. An exemplary angle once again.
Oh, with the bar off the front of the car, we can really see Danny's tyres moving around. But here comes Leighton. Look at this, pushing up nice and hard on the back of Danny. But Danny not doing too badly. Oh, I spoke too soon. Oh, off onto the infield.
The mock strikes again. Leighton Fine finishes the run. The grandfather, Danny Verhumis, in all sorts of trouble. Let's have a look there. He's gone in really hot, a little bit wide, straightened it up again, but that's pointed him straight towards the outside of the next corner, and that's precisely where he's gone.
Oh, look at this, and here we go. The JVC chase car picks it all up, and the action onto the infield he goes. Stops him, which was good, but we spin him around now, and Leighton Fine leading out Denzo the Great. Down they come. JVC in-car camera, you can see the drift box on that. Look at that. But Leighton soaring at the wheel as well.
Really, dialing STD on the wheel there. Have a look at how much steering lock he's got on there to try and keep this car as sideways as possible.
Around comes Verhumis chasing after him. He's got to make something special happen, and it's got to happen right about here. Let's have a look at Leighton. He's already into corner number 1. Danny's all mixing it all up, but here comes Leighton. The final corner, the little A86 from Nankang is on fire.
Sure is. How about this? Have a look. Have a really good look at the amount of angle this guy generates through the corner. He's got the car really sideways, and that's what's going to win him this battle. Sure enough, Leighton Fine 14, and the grandfather of Australian drifting scores a 6.
Well, we'll be seeing a little bit more of Danny a little bit later on, but Leighton, I'll tell you what, going through to the next round. And who is going to meet him? Well, the battle is between Rockin' Robbie Bolger and Whiplash Phillips. The thumbs are up. The car's okay. We thought there was a problem, and away they go. Released. Looks like it's going to be Phillips that's going to lead out, and he does. Cross to Bolger in the office. Look at him, a man of concentration.
Man of concentration in a dinner suit, racing suit. Don't know about that one. Robbie Bolger, and a little bit wide there from Bolger. Not to worry. Phillips is in the back there, somewhere in the smoke. Here he comes now again, and have a look at this. They're going really close to each other here. This isn't too bad at all.
They're not doing too bad. They're heading towards the second part of the track. Back comes Phillip, but look at Bolger absolutely unloading, ladies and gentlemen. The only word to describe it. That Monaro is going off, and as you can see on the final corner, he's in the centre of the track. He's protecting his racing line, and the angle is perfect.
Sure is. That was a pretty close run. This is going to be a very close battle for sure and certain. Now we're on board with Phillips, the JVC on board, and check out the way he's working that handbrake.
Oh, he certainly is. Oh, hang on a second. There's a light on the dash on the left-hand side there, courtesy of JVC. What is that, mate? Because the Monaro is on fire, but they're... Oh, hang on a second. The Skyline's... Whoa! Losing power or something, mate.
And a spin. A spin from Bolger. Hang on a minute. This changes everything, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, this is top 4 battles, and these guys have got to make it stick, and Bolger's really coming back at him. But look at this. The Skyline's just lost all power, lost all drive.
The Skyline's in a bit of trouble there. Robbie Bolger has come up too hot on the back of it, and he's basically thrown the car into a spin to avoid some contact there. Bolger is in a lot of trouble. Here comes the rerun. Okay.
Oh, we love the rerun. Spinning it around. Here comes the Monaro. Toyo turn number 1. Hot diggity. It's a fat sliggity. And he spun it around. Completely turned the Monaro around.
The Monaro now is in really serious danger of missing out. Now, Phillips is going through there. Obviously, whatever the problem was is still going with the car, but he's not making the same amount of smoke.
There's a little bit of blue smoke there, and we noticed on the gear change. Could this be a problem? Let's just keep an eye on this car. It's really... This car's known for big smoke, but I tell you what, he's not making it. Down comes the JVC chase car. Jeff, I'm a bit worried here, because whilst the Monaro spins, the Skyline doesn't do too much after that.
Yeah, look, the Skyline's obviously in trouble, but more importantly, Bolger is in serious points trouble here.
Dead right, and Phillips can make this one a winner if he can get back on the track, but the bonnet's up on the far side of the track. It's not looking good. Let's cross to him and find out what the problem is.
The motor's expired. I think I spun a bearing, and we just made it last the weekend, and we got to tow back in. It's been a good day, some good runs, and thank Martini and Federal for getting me out here, and BTR, and you'll see me in Sydney next round.
Well, that's a real shame. Phillips is out, and despite the fact that Bolger spun, he's going to go through, and it's a 12-8. Bolger makes it through to the final.
There's some fantastic action coming up in the finals very soon, but right now, let's check out some of the highlights from the Extreme Team Drift competition. once again it was the Delhi boys, Team Delirium from South Australia, that had too much style and took out the Extreme Team Drift competition with ease. Well, as you can see, Mark Phillips is dejectedly being towed back to the pit, so he can't take his place in the 4th and 3rd runoff. But one man that can, he's going to take the win and go through to 3rd place is Danny Verhumis, and he's here having some fun for the fans.
He doesn't need to pull off a great drift here to pick up 3rd place, but what the heck, he's doing it anyway.
Here we go, Denzo the Great, the grandfather drift. This is the guy that brought drift racing to Australia, and he's doing it for the fans, the homies on the hill.
He sure is, and check it out. He's not only doing it for the fans, but he's also doing it for Wheelworks, he's doing it for Viva Garage, Motul, and a whole raft of other sponsors. Check it out, Denzo. Credit to you, mate, and well done.
Toyo Grand Final time, ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like this. Leighton Fine defeating Aronson and Verhumis. Bolger muscling past Truella and Phillips, both into the Grand Final. Let's talk to the boys.
Look, mate, I reckon we got the smallest budget against the biggest, and look, I reckon I'll stay up nice and close, and we'll see how we go. Bolger's been driving really well today, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's quite slippery, old Leighton, but I think the V8 will scare him. I'll bully him into giving me his first position.
All right, here we go. Final run. It's state versus state. Queensland versus South Australia. Rockin' Robbie Bolger facing off against Leighton Fine. 4-cylinder versus V8. Add them together, we get 12, and that's how they're going to finish 1st and 2nd. Jeff, mate, I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to see action.
I like that mathematics there. That was awesome stuff from Racing Jason. Robbie Bolger. How about that?
Oh, in goes A86, mate. He is absolutely hammering.
Bolger tried to stick his nose down the outside before they even started.
Oh, this is crazy. He's overcooked it. He's cooked the chook and he's gone wide. Where's the Monaro? Around the outside.
Oh, unfortunate. Leighton Fine there just went a little bit too hard. Rockin' Robbie Bolger is doing the business though.
And the fans are going nuts on the hill, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a show in the final straight. Bolger smoking the tyres. Look at him. He is over the moon. He knows he's spun. He's well and truly on the front foot here, but here comes Leighton in the action replay. Oh, spins the wheel. Around goes the Monaro. Leighton, look at that good track presence as well. Take nothing away from him.
No, he did well there, but the bottom line here is that Bolger has a big advantage. As long as Bolger keeps it tidy in this run, he will be the round champion for this particular round at Queensland. Let's see what happens.
Let's get it on, ladies and gentlemen. Down comes the Monaro. He's going to knock it back a peg and go conservative. In comes Fine. Fine's looking for the pass. He's trying as hard as he can, but the Monaro's such a behemoth of power. He's covering the track, and into they go. Jeff, I'm loving this, mate. I'm loving it.
I can tell. But how about, look at this. He's really slowed himself down. Leighton Fine is having a lot of trouble trying to catch him up. Leighton Fine's also having a lot of trouble trying to gather him.
Oh, there he goes. He's going for the inside pass, and no. Bolger slams the door.
And there I was saying that he was having trouble taking him in the last corner. What I couldn't see was that the AE86 was absolutely flying.
He was, and this is where he catches him up right through here. This is the dipper. Now watch, he's going to position himself. The Monaro's going to go wide, and back he comes. He swaps to the inside of the track, and he's going to try and sneak his way up on the inside, but Bolger says, not a chance. I've got 800 horsepower ready to stomp a mud hole, and it's go.
That is some of the best tactical drifting from Leighton Fine I have ever seen.
Oh, what a battle, and have a look at that. Bolger goes through for the win. 14-6 over Leighton Fine. I tell you what, Robbie is going to be over the moon. He's going to be the happiest man outside of St Patrick's Day. Let's have a look on the far side of the track. Here he goes, waving to the crowd. Let's see what the boys have to say.
Look, mate, it's the first time I've spun in about a year, I reckon, so it's a bit unfortunate, but look, it was a really great day. The car worked really well. Got a couple of new sponsors on board in Martini and PPG, and look, they've really helped the car's reliability. It's working really well. Also got to thank Nankang for being on board. The tyres are awesome, heaps of grip. Good.
I have to thank Mark and Shane for doing a wonderful job, Kappa for building me such a good car, and Holden obviously for supplying it. It's a dream come true winning the round, mate. Good, we're in Queensland. It's good that we can keep the state of origin alive now, and obviously Crab's an awesome driver, and misfortune at the Monaro obviously scared him a little bit, but hopefully there'll be more of it.
And as the celebrations begin, let's have a look at the Toyo Drift Australia points table, and as you can see, Robbie Bolger with that win. Jumping cool, Kelly McKinnon. Of course, the table's topped by Leighton Fine, Danny Verhumis coming in 4th, and of course, Bo the Show Yates rounding it out. And don't forget, you can chat to Robbie Bolger, Leighton Fine, and all of the top drivers on www.driftaustralia.com.au. Tonight at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And remember, if you're in Sydney next weekend, you can see these guys live. Round 3 at series at Eastern Creek International Raceway. It's Ford versus Holden versus the hottest Japanese imports in the country. So don't miss it, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be going off.
baby! You weren't here, you missed out!